What if the most sacred temple of Cambodia, celebrated for peace, devotion, and enlightenment, once hosted a ritual so forbidden that every monk alive today refuses to speak its name? What if the serene bas-reliefs tourists photograph each day are not depictions of mythology at all, but coded instructions for a ceremony that was never meant to survive into the modern world? And what if the silence surrounding it isn't spiritual humility, but institutional fear? In the official story, Angkor, what is introduced as a masterpiece of Khmer devotion, an architectural hymn carved from sandstone, a symbol of kingship merging with the divine, a sanctuary where monks walk softly under lotus-shaped towers. Its public identity is serene, almost untouchable. Historians describe it as a spiritual wonder, archaeologists as a mathematical triumph, monks as a sacred legacy carried across centuries. Its long corridors tell stories of cosmic battles, celestial dancers, ritual processions, and the eternal journey between life and rebirth. But those corridors also hold shadows the official histories rarely approach. There are scenes carved with such precision, yet such disturbing intention that guides skip them entirely. The figures in those panels stare with an intensity unmatched anywhere else in the temple. Their hands form gestures absent from Buddhist canon. Their bodies are arranged around star patterns no liturgy acknowledges. To the tourist, they are simply decorative anomalies. To the monk, when asked, there is a sudden silence, and it is in that silence that this investigation begins. Some scholars argue the anomaly began with a single panel, hidden on the eastern side, unlit, unlabeled, unstudied for decades. Its carvings show a circle of kneeling figures, eyes half closed, bodies tilted backward as if entering a trance, a breath away from collapse. In the center stands a figure whose face has been deliberately eroded, not by time, but as stone experts note, by tools. Someone wanted that identity erased, yet the surrounding inscriptions remain untouched, describing movements and timings aligned with the rising of specific stars no longer used in Cambodian ritual practices. The official explanation: ancient artisans sometimes experimented, but another fragment. An old missionaries' field report from the 1800s suggests something far less innocent. It is said the missionary wrote that the monks warned their young ones never to chant. The old, starlit verses carved in the gallery of devotas. They say the last who did so fell to the ground, trembling, unable to speak for days afterward. A note follows in smaller handwriting. They forbade us from approaching the eastern wall at night. The missionary's journal is not the only testimony. French colonial archivists recorded local whispers of a ceremony of opening, a ritual performed not for gods, but for knowledge ordinary men were never meant to withstand. One archivist wrote, "The elders speak of a rite too powerful to repeat, too dangerous to forget. They say the towers were built to anchor the sky during it. They say only the king and his chosen ones were permitted to witness it. They say the stars had to be in perfect alignment, an event not recorded in our calendars. Yet no monk today will acknowledge such a ritual ever existed." Another contradiction emerges in an old Khmer manuscript found in a sealed chest during renovations at a provincial monastery. The manuscript script matches the style of the final years of the Angkor Empire. Its pages describe a nocturnal gathering, a chant rhythmically matched to the movement of shadows cast by torches placed at precise angles. It references a forbidden alignment of the heavens and the breath of the sacred watchers. Yet the manuscript ends abruptly, its last page removed, cleanly, surgically. Why erase only the conclusion? Some theorists claim this missing page described the core of the forbidden ceremony, a trance ritual harnessing astronomical alignment to induce a state beyond consciousness. Monks dismiss this theory entirely, yet none explain the missing page. Another anomaly arises in the temple's architecture itself. Angkor Wat is famously aligned with the sun during equinoxes, creating a breathtaking display as light pierces the central doorway. But hidden beneath these solar alignments is a lesser-known mathematical oddity. Certain towers and chambers align perfectly with specific star clusters visible only during a brief period every few decades. Architects of the period are not known to have built temples according to stellar geometry, yet this precision appears intentionally woven into the structure. Some astronomers propose it was used to track agricultural cycles. Others claim it was symbolic, but a small group of epigraphists argue the patterns correspond to the choreography carved in the trance state mural, the movements of the dancers, the positions of the kneeling figures, the angles of their arms, all mirroring the trajectory of stars across Angkor's sky. Was this coincidence or instruction? One damaged bas-relief, discovered beneath layers of lichen, shows a figure lying completely still, while others circle him chanting. Their postures resemble forms associated not with Buddhist devotion, but with ancient trance induction, techniques found in unrelated cultures across Asia, Africa, and Oceania. Anthropologists hesitate to draw conclusions. Historians avoid the topic entirely. A Thai chronicle from the 1600s adds another layer of contradiction. It describes a Khmer ceremony in which the soul leaves the body to consult the watchers of the upper realm. Was this metaphor or a reference to an actual practice? Monks deny the chronicle's accuracy, but when pressed, they admit something unusual. It is inappropriate to discuss rituals that were misused by those who sought power. What rituals? Misused in what way? No answer follows. Further fragments deepen the mystery. A French ethnographer once interviewed an elderly monk who claimed he was told by his master never to approach the Eastern Gallery alone at night. Not because of ghosts, the monk clarified, but because the stone remembers. When asked what the stone remembers, the monk fell silent. A surviving palm leaf manuscript, stored in a protected archive, describes a ceremony involving the breath of the stone and the turning of the inner eye. The manuscript makes repeated reference to the watchers, beings, or symbols scholars cannot identify. Some believe the watchers represent ancestors. Others think they symbolize stars. A few fringe researchers speculate the watchers refer to a consciousness beyond human understanding. None of these interpretations are officially accepted. A coded verse in the manuscript reads, "Let the body become still as the towers. Let the breath align with the stars. Let the watchers observe the opening of the inner gate." The phrase "inner gate" appears nowhere else in Khmer religious texts. What gate? Opening to where? Another source. An oral tradition, preserved in a remote Cambodian village, speaks of a night when the king touched the sky, and the temple became brighter than torches. Villagers insisted the story was metaphorical, yet they also refused to repeat the chant associated with it, even when asked politely. Even with the promise of anonymity, they only said, "That chant is not for this age." Stone analysts examining certain panels at Angkor note peculiar chisel marks inconsistent with typical decorative carving. These marks occur specifically around figures portrayed in trance positions. Some believe they once held inlays, perhaps metal mirrors, crystals, or other reflective materials used in ritual contexts. No museum or monastery acknowledges possessing such inlays. The pendulum swings again when astronomers simulate the star alignments corresponding to the bas-relief choreography. Astonishingly, one alignment matches a rare astronomical event occurring roughly every 400 years. The last occurrence would have been close to the late Angkor period, a time marked by political upheaval, religious transition, and the fading of royal power. Was the forbidden ceremony designed to preserve knowledge as the empire collapsed, or to transfer authority to those capable of entering the trance state? Archaeologists hesitate to connect these dots. Monks avoid the conversation entirely. A recently translated inscription, ignored for decades because of its faded characters, mentions a night of breathlessness where chosen individuals stepped beyond fear. Some translations render the phrase as stepped beyond the self. Others claim it means abandon the body. The ambiguity only fuels speculation. One theory argues the forbidden ceremony induced a deep trance used for prophetic visions. Another claims it was a test of kingship. Only those who survived the ritual could rule. A third suggests it was a method of accessing a heightened state of awareness considered too dangerous for public practice. But the most provocative theory, that the ceremony involved altering consciousness through rhythmic breathing, star-guided movement, and sensory deprivation, remains the most controversial, not because it lacks evidence, but because it raises a forbidden question. What knowledge did the participants believe they could reach? And why must that knowledge remain hidden? A former monk interviewed anonymously hinted that the ceremony might have been a pathway to the void where forms dissolve. When asked if this referred to Buddhist meditation, he replied sharply, "No, meditation is safe." Yet he refused further comment. Another testimony from a monk now living abroad states that some elders fear reviving the knowledge because people today are no longer prepared for its consequences. When pressed to explain what those consequences might be, he simply said, "The ceremony was not designed for ordinary minds." Astronomical charts hidden in an old royal archive depict Angkor Wat's central tower as a vertical axis between sky and earth. A marginal note suggests the tower was used to mark the moment when the breath of heaven meets the breath of the chosen. Is this poetry or instruction? The most disturbing clue appears in a French colonial sketch illustrating a ritual posture seen in the bas-reliefs. The caption reads, "Locals say this position should not be imitated. They whisper it opens the mind too quickly." What does it mean to open the mind too quickly? A Khmer elder interviewed in the 1950s said the forbidden ceremony made a man see too much. See what? He refused to elaborate. Some historians believe the silence surrounding the forbidden ceremony is a protective measure, an attempt by monks to prevent the misuse of a powerful psychological technique. Others suspect the ceremony contradicts the official religious narrative, threatening institutional stability. A third group argues the ceremony may have been political, a tool used by kings to legitimize divine authority. And then there is the fringe theory that the ceremony was not meant to honor the gods, but to communicate with something older than gods. A scratched-out inscription at Angkor refers to the ones who listen from above. This line has been dismissed as mythological, yet its deliberate erasure raises questions. Another portion of the manuscript, nearly illegible, states, "The chosen must descend into stillness until the watchers open the inner gate." Descend into stillness. Open the inner gate. The phrasing remains untranslated beyond speculation. Some suggest the forbidden ceremony caused altered states of consciousness so extreme that practitioners believed they were leaving their bodies. Monks reject this interpretation, insisting such practices are unaligned with Buddhism. But the ceremony predates the Buddhist takeover of Angkor Wat, belonging to an older layer of Khmer spirituality that has few surviving records. One detail is universally acknowledged by researchers who examine the evidence closely. The ceremony required perfect timing of celestial alignment, precise breathing sequences, and complete bodily stillness. It was not a casual ritual. It was a system the modern world no longer understands. If the ritual truly existed, it might represent one of the most complex psychological practices of the ancient world, an intersection of astronomy, architecture, and human consciousness. Or it may have been a political myth, weaponized by kings to maintain power. Whether the forbidden ceremony opened a path to higher awareness, induced visions mistaken for divine messages, or served as a symbolic rite of passage, the truth remains locked behind the silence of those who refuse to speak of it. Whether these clues reveal an ancient technology of the mind, or merely fragments of misunderstood symbolism, is yours to decide. If you want more forbidden histories and hidden truths, subscribe to Noetera and continue the journey into the secrets the past has tried to bury.